ahead and launch it here now. And as you're coming in, we have some bell work, of course. So I always like to, at the beginning of all of my sessions, just take kind of a social emotional snapshot of how everybody's coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You can already, if you're in the Nearpod lesson, you can start drawing in the circle or just filling the circle with how you feel. I won't give you too many directions other than that, because you can put anything in that circle that you want. And I always like to keep the names hidden too, to protect the innocent. Um, and just so we can really, if we're doing an SEL check-in, the most important thing, as we're, in 2 minutes, we'll start the session officially. But the most important thing, just as we gather, is really taking note of the temperature of how we gather, and not necessarily tying it to who is feeling what way. But I'll be sharing on the screen what everybody is working on, and then we can kind of see, as we gather together, how we're coming in. I already see a whole bunch of like excited faces, which I am excited to nerd out on neuroscience. I don't know about y'all, but if you're into that, this is the place to be. And also, if you just want really fun activities that work in like any grade level, also the place to be. And I'm going to give myself like an A+ pat on the back, because I remembered to share sound before I shared. And so here's how we're all coming in today, just so far. Definitely dig the Hello Kitty. I believe I did turn on the audio notes too, so you can always leave like an audio note, whatever. I'm so excited. Yeah, me too. You have no idea. You have no idea. So yeah, I'll let it kind of populate for the next minute or so. So great to already see 192 people here. No pressure. Um, yeah, gonna give you some quiet time to draw. All right, and we are already off to the races. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave this activity open as we're coming together. I'm going to turn on the student pace mode, just because I want you guys to still be able to participate in this activity. And I always like to go back and see, over time, who added what and how we're showing up. So in the chat, you can actually, if you've already done this, you can make note of some observations that you've seen, like, and then we'll move on. So I'm going to snap us back together to all come together, in a couple slides. But feel free to keep drawing. I'm not going to usurp your drawing capabilities right now, but I do want to share a little video I made, because this is how nerdy I am, and so here we go.
Knowing the options to meet each need, supporting every learner to succeed. Academic adventure, come join the stage. See you all at Camping Gate.
Already we're 1 minute into the presentation, and we've got our SEL check-in done. We've got a song to pump us up. So that I showed you that for a reason. It's actually going to be the last protocol we get to. Of course, has to involve some sort of multimedia. That's just who I am. So I am presenting on 8 neuro-scaffolded. I swear I didn't make that word up. Pathways for student-led discovery in Nearpod. And a little bit about me. I am a special education teacher. That's what my credential is in. I like to tell people I got kind of tricked into being a teacher because I was a touring musician, and in like I'm a film composer and all these other things in the music industry, and I needed kind of a day job, so I got into substitute teaching, and then I was subbing 160 days a year, and they said, 26 more days we could probably pay you double or something, like call you a teacher. I'm like, Okay. But that's I taught special ed for 8 years at the high school level, and before that, just all levels, K-12. I loved bouncing around as a sub teacher and being able to say, "Nope, sorry, I'm on tour," or something else, or "It's Christmas break." So, but it was a really really amazing part of my life, and I'm thankful for it. And right now, I help run a nonprofit called the David Z Foundation. So that's where you can reach me, Dan at davidzfoundation.org, if you would like to reach out anytime. I love answering anything nerdy. You don't have to be nerdy, but it helps. So, speaking of nerds, I think we should really bring back the word nerd, with a positive image. So I'm gonna be a proud card carrying nerd today, because we're gonna get into some neuroscience, and we're going to not just take a look at things and look at that theory, but there are 8 protocols that are actually going to give you 8 things to do tomorrow, or like for staff training or whatever. These are protocols that I came up with. It's kind of become like my signature way to engage at Camp Engage, is to think at kind of that like meta level. That's where I live, for better or worse. But what are we doing today? Well, we are empowering the community in your classroom by creating a whole bunch of leaders. I think it's really important that we see a room full of students first as a room full of humans. And it's a really weird thing, actually, to bring together a bunch of humans and to have them all sit facing the same way, for 8 hours or 7 hours or whatever, and not let them get up very much except to eat, use the bathroom, and whatever, like a little brain break. There's a lot of just kind of unnatural things about the way we, uh, you know, have historically taught and have historically led school culture. But I'm really excited to be here with a whole bunch of change makers that, the changes have been just like phenomenal and just fast. Like we're developing so fast the minute we started seeing students as humans. Looking at SEL, social emotional learning, looking at UDL, universal design for learning, and then looking at how are we mastering standards. So as we go through, I just want to give you a heads up. There's going to be that kind of three-way braided structure to this. So what we're starting with, and to empower the community, I call it the 3 A's: aspiration, access, and agency. And there's a lot of groups of 3 that I like to put over the teacher formula: I do, we do, you do. If you came to my session on vocabulary, we were talking about imitation, emulation, and creation. But this is very much the same. We have this growth from aspiring to do something, and then I'm talking at the human level of students. I'm not saying like how to be the best student. I'm saying how students can be the best human. And we're looking at aspiration first, and then we open up the access to what they need to succeed, and then we help them build agency by modeling and doing direct practice and collaborating, and then eventually um, coaching autonomy and coaching this ability to be our own little human. And so it's that gradual release of responsibility that I try to infuse into everything that I do as a teacher, because I know I can't you know take a student through life. I have to prepare them for life. So, as like again, as we're going through these, you can follow with me. You're in student pace mode right now. You can also like poke around the whole presentation if you want, because it's open up until like slide 43. But I just want to touch on the why, and then we're going to really get into the how. Um, why are we taking the time to extrapolate protocols? Well, it's because we have to do something every day with these students, no matter how they're showing up, no matter how we're showing up. So if we have an open system that is creating a microcosm of society in our classroom, like that's always my goal as a teacher, setting up classroom, that I don't want it to become a bubble. I don't want it to become this place where they feel connected in one moment or on one scale or whatever that may be, and then they leave and then start all over. So, part of teaching is teaching that relational capacity and teaching how to take what all the things we're learning, because information is in no short supply, but analysis really kind of is. That has to be taught, it has to be modeled, it has to be practiced. And we do this through low stakes practice. So I'm not going to get into a lot of this image, but let me just tell you, it is we're flipping Bloom's taxonomy. Instead of having like a big foundation of facts, at the bottom, and then we have this little bit of creativity on top. I like to flip things and say, all right, we're going to keep that order. That's a really important and logical order. We have to remember, and then we can understand it. We can apply that knowledge, analyze it, and maybe, put it somewhere else, in a different domain, and then evaluate it, and then eventually create something. That's that autonomy. That's that student agency. So that's happening here. I think of this as like the baseline for a classroom level. We're creating. We're spending a lot of time creating, because kids, this is how it relates to Maslow, the way I see it. I've never thought of like Maslow before Bloom. I've always thought of Maslow with Bloom, like they're besties and they kind of walk together. So this baseline, we have a physiologically safe classroom. Our students feel academically safe. Our students feel physically safe, and our students feel like they are safe to dream. So that we're creating this safe where you belong, no matter what. And then we kind of move our way up into this self-actualization. It's kind of fuzzy, but moving up from this, like, okay, Uga Chuga caveman safe, like there's no danger around me. Good. That's like the level one. Level two is this belonging and that building of self-esteem. And the level three that we want to really usher our students by the end of the year, by whatever measure we have, is that they can do it. They've shown mastery. They can self-actualize and follow their dreams. So how are we going to do it? We're going to play. I just like playing, because low stakes practice is my jam. And I love just being able to create a sandbox that has its own little rules, and then say, all right, take what you learned in this sandbox. Can you build your own? Can you take it to another sandbox? Can you, whatever it is. But if we have much more low stakes practice experiences that we're able to offer our students, rather than and what I mean by that is just like not a test. So they get enough tests. High stakes practice would be learning for a test, like, and making sure we have all those standards. Important, yes. Everything, no. There's we've got to make sure that we have that human ability to play. So here we're just gonna dive in to the protocol. So every protocol, I'm gonna give you what it is, just kind of like a little nuts and bolts. Then we're gonna actually do a Nearpod activity around them. And then at the end, I put a little, just like in case you need it, at least one Common Core standard, one UDL standard, and one SEL standard. So you can say, all right, this is actually evidence-based. It's stuff that we can do. And I'm going to go ahead and bring us all back together in case you're still, wandering around, in 3, 2, finish your thought. And so now we should all be back together. And let's take a look at protocol 1, source evaluation. So I like to think of this as a stoplight system. And this is where, and just, okay, let's take a breath, because this is a major turn right now. We're going to get into this practice. So I want you to think right now of those times that you just wish a student could tell if something was like fake, or if it was questionable, or if it was unreliable, or if it was reliable, and why. And you just like, you want to get that through to them. But that's not necessarily something, if that can just be taught. That's only one way, is explicit instruction. The other way is, and for all these protocols, it's trusting the student to find their own pathway. But we have to meet them where they are, and then be able to guide them through very intentional systems and measurable data so that they know how far they've come, no matter where they started. So this one, just an activity that has to use sources to prove a claim, all over in ELA, right? Um, what it's very simple. We're just have a three-color system, or you'll see in Nearpod, I use a three-column system where we're putting something in, a column that it's reliable, and we can actually, cite where it came from. It's something that, it's that reliable. Yellow is questionable. This is where you have the richest discussion, and you get to kind of help sort what's reliable and unreliable. And then red is unreliable. And then we always want to have some kind of why. Okay, so we're going to do this little collaborate board that is split into columns. So what I want you to do, because I'm going meta, is we're going to work on the supporting evidence that supports the claim. Attending to social emotional learning in classrooms is one of the most important things a teacher can provide for their classroom. So, already off the bat, we can identify, well, this really does have a bit of an opinion in it. So this isn't an objective fact necessarily. We're already a little bit, polarized as far as we think this is really important. So I put here the Castle framework, in case you need a little some things to dive off on. But I want to give you a solid 60 seconds to find one thing, and I want you to find a piece of information on the internet, anywhere, where you can support the claim that, or if you just happen to know something that is really important to attend to social emotional learning. So I'll show you kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm just going to say Castle framework. This is, if you're not at a place where you can just go Google some things, that's okay. So I'm just going to go here. There's so many things. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that. I didn't read it. This is not, this is kind of the fast version. But then I'll go back to my lesson. And I know anything from Castle, just in my opinion, is going to be, in my experience, I guess. Ooh, I like it. Yeah, reliable information. So I love it. So now I'm going to just hit the little picture button, and I can drag that thing I just grabbed off the internet, and then I can represent it on the Collaborate board. And then I can say why. I can say, I think this is reliable because it is evidence-based. I don't know. There's just a lot of evidence that they have on their website. So then note here, I just want to kind of get to the mechanics of this activity. You have the choice, no matter how many columns you make, and I love that now we can make more than three. It's great. I have reliable, questionable, and unreliable. So I'm going to put that in the reliable column, and then I'm going to hit the little airplane that says send. So I'm going to give you about a minute. Oh, I love that. And so what you can do is you can find something that can support the claim. And then we're really want to just support this claim. This is the important thing to understand about this activity. We're already given the answer, the argument we're trying to make. We're just now analyzing the sources. Okay. I love it. I think this works. My child did fine with it. Yes. Yeah. It could be. Now, this one, I love it. It could be evidence-based, but it also could be just, that happened once. So you look at the sample size of a study. I love this. Oh, you guys are rock stars. Makes me so happy. Students need a safe space. Yeah. So, and then you can also say, just like, I wonder if there is an article that could support that. You can have a little conversation, and this is where you're building together this very particular, focus on how are the sources supporting, because we know we're going to have students having to make claims and support with evidence, but how can we rate what that is? So this is just a little activity for that. So we're going to move on in probably about 10 seconds. I just got to, oh my gosh, I have to see this. Can you help me, Miss Martin? This wasn't covered in one of my education. I love it. Yeah, that's like what being in the music industry is like. Yep. All right. Oh yeah, and then there's the Chat GPT link. I love it. You know, so um and I love how all of the unreliable ones are just like some sentences, you know, like where, it's really nice to talk about where's the evidence for that. All right, so I'm gonna move us ahead to the next protocol, and like I said, you can come back to this. You'll be able to get back to this to read all this. I just wanted to insert it there so it's right next to what we just did. I'm not going to go through those though. That's I'm not that nerdy. Um, Protocol 2, we're already there. So this one, we're going to be building an annotated bibliography. So I like to think of it like an anthology that gets to live. And just notice that as we go through all of these, we have evidence of learning that can be shared with parents, with coaches, with teachers, other teachers, with IEP teams, 504 teams, whoever needs to track some of this data on how our students are doing, no matter what we're tracking. We're just taking a look at this. How can we systematize giving students their access to their own data and ownership over their own learning? So we'll keep coming back to that. So for this activity, we're going to annotate and interact with key passages in uploaded text. So for this activity, it's going to be kind of a carryover from the first one. We're still focusing on social emotional learning. I just want to give us something to focus on. And I think it's something we can all, we can never learn enough about. Each student finds online articles and resources, and then they add it to the Draw It activity that we have on the next slide. So note this, for some documents, students may need direct instruction on how to screenshot. So I'm going to just go through how you do it on a Mac, but I'm trusting you guys all hopefully can either screenshot something or know where to look up how to screenshot something. But you can also help each other. This is it's that human level of interaction. And then we can export all of these texts as an annotated bibliography featuring classroom collaboration. So again, we get evidence of the students thinking. We get evidence that they understand the connection. And then they're doing it collaboratively in this Draw It so that we can look at everything together and say, okay, I like what you were thinking there. And the reason I chose a Draw It is because say somebody here, let me show you the Draw It. Say somebody needs a little bit of extra instruction or doesn't know where to start. So I always like to start with a model like, here's what I'm looking for. Here's the directions. Find an online text about the importance of social emotional learning and take a screenshot. Annotate and interact with the text using the tools you see below. So right here. So are there many other creative ways we can do this? Absolutely. And one thing to highlight too is if you have students who have a disability or students who are second language learners, the immersive reader is right here. So you can just open it up there and then, you have the picture supported text. You have all those nice little bells and whistles that I'm sure a lot of you have learned about, but I just want to show you, if you haven't seen this little floating book, it's a magical tool. So you can change languages too for any text that's on a slide. So like I said, we have the instructions. Here's a model that you can open up if you need to see what we're looking at. And this is one particular, Chicago format, but I like to just leave it open and just saying like, find a text that somebody else wrote. And then you're going to annotate it, and you're going to draw on it, and you're going to interact with it like you would if you know the Cornell Notes system. And that is just, so we'll do some modeling right now for that. So I'll go back to, I actually want to do the UDL and SEL, UDL and SEL, how they work together. Sadie Novak is my hero, one of them. So I'm an image of, oh, then there it was. So this is something I might just like key on this. Um, and I can take the whole website, but the direction said I'm going to take a screenshot. So for my Mac, I'm going to do Shift Command 4, and then it's going to let me create a box however big I want, and then I can drop that in to, oh, thanks, Katie Novak. She just prompted me something. Then I can drop that into here. And I need to like take a breath and look at the chat. I haven't looked at the chat yet, but I'm just having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are too. Well, we can see if we are. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Just in case you're new, I know this it's a lot coming at you fast. Then the tools are down here. We have the crayon, so I can say, I like the word twofer. That's cool. And maybe I want to highlight with what's happening right now in education, the need to support our students is not just academics, but social emotional learning, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And so I'm also going to, just because I love you guys, I'm going to put this website there too. Um, Allegedly, maybe not. Isn't it fun to see a teacher struggle? All right. So that is, if you want to check out that, I highly recommend this resource. So, I just wanted to kind of add that to my annotation. And then the important thing is, just you're able as a teacher now to go in and see what everybody's doing. So let's say like that's really interesting. So I'm just gonna give some feedback right there. Uh, there you go. Nice job. And so that is, that's private feedback, by the way. That's like one of the coolest things, and just a SEL meta moment that we can actually have these little side conversations with this drawed activity. So not only do we now have an annotated bibliography anthology, we also have the ability to give direct feedback to each student. So please finish up. I'm going to leave us in student. I'm going to do student pace because a slide like this, you guys might have already invested some things in it. So just know that in the next minute or so, I'm going to snap you back together. But we're going to move on for now because we've got a few more to get through. Wow, I'm like right on schedule with my time. Yay! Says no teacher ever. All right. Protocol 3, it's good that I have it in student pace mode because we're going to have to do it here anyway. So this is using the immersive features of Nearpod to just ask the very basic question, what did you observe? So I've done this activity with kindergartners, I've done it with 3-year-olds, I've done it with college students, with adult learners. It's a very, very flexible activity. And it really is that question. It's just saying, I'm going to give you something. What do you see? What do you think about it? You know? So I don't know why I wrote it so small. Students truly enter the sandbox and explore environments as a shared experience with their peers. They navigate with curiosity and leave observational feedback. So these are 3 powerhouses right within Nearpod that, and I'm gonna show you each of them, and you can choose your own adventure. And I'm gonna ask you in a question, what did you observe? That's it. So you already know the question you're gonna be asked. So option 1, this is a VR. And this is it's this observatory. No, sorry, not the observatory, the chapel in Germany. It's like Lemar, Germany, night sky, just a gorgeous picture. But what's so cool is when in the Nearpod VR, I highly recommend doing it on a phone or a tablet because there's just so many more features and it actually like follows your movement. It's really cool. So that's option 1. Just look around and then the question is going to be, what did you observe? Option 2 This might I might do with like first graders, second graders. We're trying to find adjectives that describe a noun, and that's the purpose of it. So obviously you're going to have whatever standard attached to it, but this is the how. This we might do in middle school. Anybody know? I'm going to look in chat. Anybody know what that is? I bet all of you probably do. Oh my gosh, I lost chat. Wow, people from all over the world to Argentina, Dallas. Cool. Okay, so anybody know? Looks like a cell. It's a cell. Okay, what kind of cell? It's a cell. Yep, it's a cell. Cell. Yeah. Plant or animal? 50-50. Yep. There you go. Dara for the win. Dara or Dara, sorry. But what's cool is you can actually rotate this object around in 3D environment. So a lot of fifth grade standards are going to be around plant and animal cells. And guess what? That's the way science works. That comes back in seventh grade, and then ninth grade, and then 11th grade. And then, so there's all these standards where you're still rooted in the same thing. And so you can just say like, hey, point to me where's the mitochondria? you know, and you're able to see these outside of a book, which is so important because we can zoom in, we can zoom out. There's tons and tons of different 3D objects that are here. Like one of the most useful, I think, they have one of the human body that has different systems, different layers of systems. That is really, really cool. So that's option two. And option three, we're going to high school math. I was an algebra teacher as part of my job. So this is the lovely slope intercept version, the slope intercept form of a line. My slide isn't working. Jenny's hang in there. I know that the moderators are awesome and on it. So this, just taking that immersive experience of creating a sandbox around high school algebra. I mean, that's kind of cool because this is all mapped together. So as whatever part in the system you're changing, it's all this one little ecosystem. And then you can say, I want to see the slope. Okay, now I want to see, without the slope. So we know that slope is going to be rise over run. 2/3. Oh, okay. So that's our y equals mx plus b, which is our basic formula. You have all these pieces, but then you can also show, how this interacts with other lines, and then you can just plot your own points. So it's like I want to know what the intercept is. Well, it's going to be 3-3. I want to know what this intercept is. 0-1. What does that mean? So this not only is going to help students who maybe need that visual support to aid their learning, but it's also going to allow them to have autonomy with it. Which is the goal, right? This is like giving that agency and saying like, here's a little trusted sandbox, and I know you can't break it, and I know it's not going to lead you astray, but I want to know, what did you observe? Okay, so now there's the question. What did you observe, and what do you have questions about? I'm going to leave it in student pace mode right now because I want you to be able to choose your own adventure. We started with oh gosh, what did we the night sky, and then there was the animal cell, and then high school math, because why wouldn't those all be together in a Nearpod? So I'm going to give some wait time, and I'm going to look at any questions, comments in the chat. The other thing that's really cool too, just like Nearpod tips from the road, I guess, when you're in this teacher view, because you always have the student view and the teacher view, so you can toggle between them. I love that. Didn't always used to be that way. And then you can just go like select one of them, and it will put it on your screen, but it won't usurp the screen of other students. There's also where you can share it. You can actually go through and share each one, and then it'll actually usurp the screen, and it puts the same answer on everybody's screen. So it just has a lot of implications for online learning, for just learning in different modalities. So here, every challenge was interactive. The student would fully engage. Bing, bing, bing. Yeah, that is awesome. Great observation. All right, so we'll look at a couple other observations. Each student has the object in front of them. Yes, I love it. VR is amazing. Students are always trying to find the weirdest things, but adding for them to use adjectives makes it even better. Great. Love it. Being able to move around the scene. Oh, can you take a picture and turn it into a 3D image? That I don't know, but that would be a great inquiry. Like that. If your student came up with that, you'd be like, you can turn it back on them. I don't know. How would we find that out? Why don't you do a little research, and report back to us? So I think that would be really cool. I happen to know like there are different services and websites that can do that, but that's where we can, not give the answers, just support the questions. 3D models always their own pages. That's a good point. Now, the one way you could do that is open up two instances of Nearpod. This is the only way I could think of it, and then just kind of split your screen. So you could have like I've done this actually with Google Translate and Nearpod when I was teaching a class in Colombia because I don't speak Spanish. Um, so you would have one be like the animal and one be the plant, and then you can compare and maybe do that as a full group activity, and then individually they'll answer questions about that. Great question. Okay, so we're gonna move forward. You can finish up your thoughts, and I'm gonna snap us back together very soon. There's the boring blah blah. It's not boring. I actually nerd out on that. Like I love when I can see standards. Okay, so dynamic presentation. This one's going to be fun. And this, look at how fancy the title is. Dynamic presentation practice. I call it slideshow roulette. And I built a little app last night for it because I didn't know how to really demonstrate it. So I don't know how long this is going to be up. These websites, break fairly quickly when things change. But see, it broke already. Uh, what did I do? Anyway, uh, here, let me go back to my other. See, and that's the other thing too, when you're presenting, always have a backup plan because that's important. So here's my instance that's already up. So what this activity is, it is, yeah, I don't, unfortunately, the link's not going to work probably because it's just like it's an app that you can build something and then it's there for a little bit and then you actually have to have it hosted somewhere. I didn't host it anywhere, so they already like took it down. But here's what I did. So we'll actually, our very last protocol, I can actually show you how to make something like this. um, So what this is it's just presentation practice, low stakes. And I need you guys yeah, you didn't break it. You didn't break it. I broke it. I built it broken. I need a suggestion for a product or service that I'm going to give a presentation on. So take a look at these. I need a product or service, a target demographic, and an industry or discipline. So I'm saying this is going to be like an elevator pitch. I'm trying to sell something for whatever you guys come up with. And this, you can just, the point of this is that it's going to be funny and silly and ridiculous, and they're going to say stupid things. So it's getting you in front of a group, presenting with pictures, trying to tie it all together when you know they can't all be tied together. Because I put in a AI generator, so it generated 5 random images for me to present on, and we're gonna say jump rope. Okay, so we're selling a jump rope, and uh, for a jump rope to high school students, and um, learning English with karaoke. I love that. Okay, so yeah, let's keep it simple. We're gonna sell a jump rope to high school students, and we're looking at like high school student age. Okay, so I don't know what these pictures are gonna be. You know how like telling a story, you feel that you're so comfortable and close with somebody else, and you feel like nothing could ever move me from this. But what if you saw a jump rope? That's right. A jump rope is more exciting than a whole bunch of hot air balloons that are going in the sky around a castle, because everybody has to use a jump rope, but not just anybody can. You have to be a high school student to use a jump rope for the first time. And remember back in elementary school, you're like, oh, a jump rope. I would love to do that. No, can't do that. You guys can like look at bees and count butterflies. But no, high school students get to do the jump rope. And that's why, because we trust you with so much more information when you're in high school. So in summary, I would like to sell you a jump rope. And just keep jumping, just keep jumping, just keep jumping. Okay, so that was it. It was kind of goofy. But I know I saw I'm lost. That's exactly it. So let me drill down to the point of this. So what we're doing is we're making it absolutely ridiculous. So you can't possibly make a good, valid presentation. But what's really fun is when you get students doing this for each other. So say like the way it would work in a Google Classroom, you could have just do a slide deck that has 5 blank slides, and then everybody finds random pictures, and then they just put them in there, and then they take turns presenting each other's slideshows. So they don't know what's coming up next. Like that's why I had to do it this way. I had to build a whole website because I wanted to not know what was coming up next. And I didn't want to know what you guys would have me be talking about. So it gets that low stakes practice. Mad Libs page by page. Yeah. It's that low stakes practice of just being in front of somebody and not knowing what you're doing because you can't. Okay, good. Thank you, Graciela. Yay. Because I know it's hard to get people excited about this idea, but I'm gonna start a revolution. So I want slideshow roulette. I'm gonna build a permanent app. Mark my words. All right. So moving on from that, I believe I am gonna go ahead and snap us all together, and let's move forward, friends. And here's the why. This is the big one. Multiple means of engagement. It just creates interesting memories. So protocol 5, multimodal representation. And this, you guys are going to go nuts if you love a good Freire model. So this is looking at how many ways we can solve a problem and can represent a problem, and make it a contest. So students diagram solutions using audio, visual, kinesthetic representations, depending on what they're strongest at for learning style. Peers challenge each other to find more ways to represent and solve a problem, and then take note of the alternative strategies and cognitive biases. So you don't really want them necessarily focusing on like, make sure you keep track of your cognitive biases, but you want to bring that up in the conversation afterwards. So this is actually a Nearpod video that, oh, wait, no, I lied. I'm one protocol ahead. Sorry. I got excited. So this one, we're just looking at a Freire model. And the question is, what does the word iconic mean? So, that's one way we could define it. But now I want each of you to find your own way to define the word iconic. It can be a picture. It can be, you can have your own Freire model. You can record something. Like this is one thing I haven't seen demonstrated a lot, but it's really powerful. And you can record audio in a Collaborate board. So just say, maybe you can't. It's not letting me. That's okay. Well, just keep swimming. So usually I can record audio. That's definitely a user error, but I also my go-to if audio doesn't work is a GIF. So I'm just going to type in the word iconic, and I think a lot of you did that too, huh? Let's go deeper. Let's do iconic examples. I got a whole different search query return. Okay, so cool. I mean, there's a lot of interesting example of iconic language. Great. So I have that, and then I can hit the little airplane button, and we're off to the races. So look at all these amazing ways we can represent iconic. I'm gonna try one more time just for good measure. Record. No, it's probably a permission thing. Okay, and moving on. I'm gonna go ahead and we're just going to keep trucking together. So take another couple seconds to finish your post or your representation. noting also that you can have these nonverbal dialogues while everybody is working. So it's nice to be able to nice to be able to see so many ways that we can represent iconic and so many examples. And here we go. Oh, it was a permission thing. Okay, wait. I gotta against my better judgment. Can you take us back? Because I want to see. All right. So, hey, I love that I can record audio, and iconic to me means something that's just like super original. So then the
Hey,
back.
I love
Then you can trim it, all the things. But then, it's just one more representation. So hashtag worth it. All right, now that that's there, I'm gonna go forward. All right, sixth, we're making it. We're making it. Ethical dilemmas. This is what I was thinking before. This is actually one of my favorite videos that is already in Nearpod, and it's about this ethical dilemma. So we're just going to watch the first little bit of it, and we can do one of the embedded questions. So we can pose an ethical dilemma and facilitate a debate or a Socratic seminar. We're basically just saying, I want to hear the wide variety of your thoughts. I will, as a teacher, I will be facilitating. I will set ground rules. I'll make sure everybody's being kind. But beyond that, I'm not giving you answers. And I won't tell you if you're right or wrong, because this is going to be your opinion or your original idea. So evaluate along the way and provide the leadership opportunities. So maybe the second or third time you do a Socratic seminar or a debate, something like that, a teacher or a student can moderate, or you bring in a guest moderator, kind of that community connection. So lots of different ways to do that. But here's a really great ethical dilemma to start with. And this is on driving, self-driving cars. And I have it in interactive mode. I've got questions here that I didn't make these; they were already there. But we're gonna watch to this first one and then answer it, so you can see how it works. Well, that wasn't much. What do you already know about self-driving cars? So this is where we can generate some knowledge. Um, I think in the interest of time, I will just kind of move on after this, but you'll have this. So because we didn't get to it, the gist of it is like, say you have a self-driving car has in front of them one challenge, like a hay truck or something. On the side of them, a motorcycle. On the other side, like a car with like a large family in it or something. So on every side, it's going to have to make a decision, and most likely there's going to be catastrophic damage to one of these things. So what do you choose? It's things like that. And it's those would you rather is a really good ethical dilemma for really elementary, and just it's opening up that discussion of sharing their thinking behind something or making them think about something for the first time. And I like that, this had it had a gathering information question, and we're just building background. They are testing them to stop for young children on the road. Self-driving cars are used as taxis in San Francisco. Yeah, that's the robo-taxi. So there's all these different things. But again, in the interest of time, I want to make sure I have some time for questions. We've got two more protocols. Start finishing up your thoughts. And then I do want to just, because it's cool, it's a great feature. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to submit if they're going to submit, but then I can actually usurp everybody else's screen, and then it's just focusing on this one. And so that's going to be it, it's that what level of attention do I need? Attention of focus, because we always have you have to get alert first. We have to alert that there was a change. So if your students need to be kind of recentered, you can say, all right, I'm just going to take over your screen, and then we're going to talk about this one thing, so we can really focus. Or like I showed you before, you can just pop them out one at a time. So here we go, moving forward to our last two protocols. I'm just really interested in seeing what you guys are saying too, about self-driving cars. Predict and check. This is just a really great low stakes, low key, and informal protocol that you're just going to be making a prediction and then checking and seeing what happened. And it's if you go to the Mind Research Institute, they have a lot on this perception action cycle. And so, we're even if we are working with somebody or if we ourselves are not seeing, um, a lot of this information about observational information goes through our visual cortex, regardless of sight. So there's this, we notice this existing schema, whatever sense we're using to take in. There's something that is going on in front of us, and then we naturally, as it's a survival instinct, we want to make a prediction about what will be the result of that, and then maybe our action in that situation, and then what's the outcome, and reflect on it. We perceive more, and we make another prediction. And so we just go around this, round and round. It's called learning, you know, and we're reinforcing things we already knew. We're extending them and maybe making them more complex, and then we're building entirely new schema around something we're observing. So that I just for one question, think back to your experience about how this session might go. Like not knowing and coming in and seeing like the happy face board and everything. What did you think? And maybe it was something like maybe you were having a moment and you're like, I just don't want to go to one more session, or like I'm excited to go to another session. Like how did you think this might go? Were your expectations correct? Why am I not? And no, this is not like compliment fishing. I'm actually trying to just make look back at what were your expectations and were they met? If they were, how did you know? What was the evidence? If they were not, so take a moment to finish this one. I'm going to give you legit a minute right now. Slowly's going. Yeah, I mean, it's so fun to even think back onto something that was just recently happened. So, um, I am going to move us forward to our last activity, and this one I definitely want you to be with us. I'm not gonna take more time on this in student paced, but thank you for sharing your ideas. And if you have something written, now's the time to hit send. So 3, 2, 1. I just feel like so bad about moving screens. I don't know why. All right, last one. This I think will be really fun to see what comes out of it. This is a protocol I called Craft, and it's for making prompts for AI. And that is the reason, like, here's the why. We now have in Nearpod access to creating AI lessons at certain memberships. I know the moderators have information about that, what tiers get what, but I know basically, I correct me if I'm wrong, please, but like every level of license of the full Nearpod has where you can build a quiz, an AI quiz, or time to climb. So I want to just, attend to providing some tools for that. And like, how do we even know where to start in how AI thinks? I've been an early adopter of AI, and I actually am excited to finally have found a use case for the slides. Like a lot of times I just had like show one slide, but Nearpod has this ability to show a host of slides. And so within this is again a protocol within a protocol. When we are talking to AI to get, and this is just, this is from me. It's definitely got some evidence base, but I always need quirky little acronyms to get me doing the right things. So, CRAFT stands for clarify purpose, role and relevance, adapt for your audience, feedback, and test and transform. So this is going to be how we write a prompt. Instead of saying like, say you have the Nearpod lesson generator. I want a lesson on the American Revolution. Okay, well, what's the purpose? There's some implied roles and relevance, but what's the grade level? Adapt for your audience. Does it need to be differentiated? Give it information. They can handle it. Like I practiced making some sessions, which we're going to do live right now. At actually going through how to apply this to making a session. So just real quickly, and again, you have this in your Nearpod. If you download the notes, or you're gonna get a link for it too. So feel free to use this presentation for your students, for your staff, whoever. So just some examples of how we can write a prompt that has it's very specific on its purpose. Improve paragraph cohesion in fourth grade narratives. Okay, good. That's pretty clear, right? I've given a lot of context. Maybe I'll throw in a standard or whatever, if you happen to know one. But you just have to be very specific, as opposed to something like make paragraphs better, or I need a lesson on how to help my students write better. It doesn't give much context or clarity. So then the role and relevance, this is where a lot of folks kind of forget this or just assume it's already there, like under the hood. But this is where you tell the AI what it is. Like, you are a master of 14th century poetry, whatever it is. So act as a peer reviewer for middle school lab reports. So already when you tell AI like that's the role they have, I need a lesson that will have you act as a peer reviewer, or from the perspective of a peer reviewer for middle school lab reports. Very simple to come up with these. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be specific. The A, adapt for the audience. And that's going to be simplify vocabulary for emerging bilingual students and provide links for visuals of uncommonly used vocabulary. So that might be a little much to put in the Nearpod lesson generator, but all of these AI tools, whether it's Google, you have Gemini, you have Copilot, you have all the LLMs like ChatGPT and Claude, and the litany of them. They all will accept fairly similar inputs, and more and more you can give different modalities as inputs, like pictures, stuff like that. So then feedback loops is our F. Suggest 3 drastically different ways to shorten this conclusion. So this is, using AI as an example generator is powerful. And this, again, why are we doing this? Well, you can't put AI back in the box. The Pandora's box has been opened. So students are going to have it whether you like it or not. And that's just, it's on their phone, so let's model how to use it inquisitively, and ethically and consistently and logically, and fully. So I think that's what we're really getting into in education. Finally, the T, test and transform. So then we have to, this is really huge for students, because once they start monitoring their outputs and thinking about, why did I get that answer? Why did this not work? Whatever. Compare AI feedback with peer feedback, comparative analysis. So you're looking at all of these put together, and then you're looking at as a complete package. Did it test your hypothesis? What were the results? Are you able to change the prompt in order to make it better? So I am going to leave this on student pace mode so that you can come back and then look at any of these slides as a review. So you kind of get as we do this, and then the last thing I want to do is actually in the there's my info, but in the chat, if you guys want to practice writing some of those prompts, it's on student pace mode. So I'm going to leave mine here. You can be on the slideshow. Um, ooh, yeah, that's in a that's great. Dara, sorry. So let's just for funsies, we have like 3 minutes left. This is also the time for questions, but I'd love to just in real time work on building out one of these Nearpod lessons. So you're gonna see my library. It's so well organized. And then any questions that folks have too. And I don't know. Let me see if I can open the Q&A. There, Q&A. Okay. What about energy consumption of AI? Yes, I love this question. So somebody asked, what about the energy consumption of AI? Do we know if Nearpod has a smaller carbon footprint? That's why I hesitate to use AI in the classroom. I love that answer so much. And I would definitely, if anybody from Nearpod wants to chime in, that's awesome. Erica, I see you doing that. But that's one of the things that we can really put into the conversation more. And I just, asking about that stewardship of resources and is what's sustainable? How do things need to adapt? And I think that's where we really need our students' voices in this because they're going to be the ones innovating on how to leave lesser carbon footprints, on how to use AI in sustainable ways, on how to make models tighter and less consumptive. So I'm sure that consumptive is a word. Oh, yeah, and then I'll put my email here too. And it's on the screen, or it will be. There we go. Okay. Q&A done. And then I want to just show this. So I want to just, because we only have a minute, I want a music lesson about, hi, Erica.
Hi.
I know we're in like the last minute, but I'm gonna make a little music. Actually, I did. Okay, pretend I just did this now. I did this yesterday. So I'll actually add this little link to the chat. So this was generated actually in Nearpod using that approach that I just taught.
Oh my goodness.
So
And I cannot thank you enough for your contribution to just not just education for students, to professional learning, to Camp Engage, to the entire field of education. You do not know, I don't know if you know that there are over 300 people here today,
oh
and
wow.
so many more will actually get to watch this recording. I mean, yeah, look at that love coming in your chat box. I know that it's
Aw,
my favorite sessions.
who's
Your
funky?
creativity and thoughtfulness is absolutely unparalleled. We are now at our final 30
Yeah.
seconds of Camp Engage for this back to school season. So I'm just hopping in to say thank you to every camper who's been to multiple sessions, who's been to one session. If you've been to two of Dan's sessions, both today, you deserve a round of applause because you found an amazing speaker and stuck with it. If you were in my sessions, thank you for coming along for the ride. Our speakers were so happy to prepare and present for you this back to school season. At Nearpod, we've always believed that teaching is the most important job in the world. So, with that, Dan, please close us out.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for coming and I put my email in the chat, so you can grab that. Feel free to reach out if you want to nerd out. Reach out, nerd out. So we'll see you at next Camp Engage.